today's top stories. London has endured another night of German bombing. Most damage was concentrated in the East End. The RAF has struck once again today's top stories. London has endured another night of German bombing. Most damage was concentrated in the East End. The RAF has struck enemy aerodromes in Le Havre and the Low Countries. In Russia, further German losses are reported around Leningrad. In Asia, the American fortress at Corregidor is still defiant, but Japanese forces are reported nearing the Burmese oil fields. And that concludes the news summary. We now return you to our music program. Once again, today's top stories. London has endured another night of German bombing. Most damage was concentrated in the East End. The RAF has struck enemy aerodromes in Le Havre and the Low Countries. In Russia, further German losses are reported around Leningrad. In Asia, the American fortress at Corregidor is still defiant, but Japanese forces are reported nearing the Burmese oil field.
War or no war, a tenant in arrears is not a tenant all put up with. You don't pay for today, it's the street, I promise.
See here, this isn't about your dedication. Pringle certainly attests to your loyalty. No, your dismissal stems from the Titanic mission. That failure can no longer be ignored, especially now. I am sorry, but someone must shoulder the blame. The service, you understand. We can't be held responsible. The past, forever locked in regret. But what if the past could be changed? "30 years have come and gone since the night that saw the end of the world, my world. The service needed someone on the Titanic. They chose me. I was to wait for a signal from my contact, so I remained in my cabin. I left only once Georgia was on board. And that's when it came. There'd be no second chance. It was Sunday, April 14th. Too late, you see, for the Titanic, for me. What if I'd met with my contact, prevented disaster? What if the past could be changed? What then?
Good evening. I am Smethels, your steward, and, if I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it? Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing. Since you haven't been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic? Very good. We of the White Star Line hope that your stay on board Titanic is as relaxing as possible. As you explore the ship, please bear in mind the following advice. The mouse is your hands, the keys your feet. If you find the screen too dark or too bright, follow the directions on the control screen help panel or consult your manual on adjusting your monitor. To find the control panel help and other features, click on the life preserver at the bottom of the screen. The control panel has a help button, as well as a quit and save game feature. You may also adjust the volume. Test the settings by clicking on the black knob. You may also switch the theme music on or off. After making any adjustments, click OK to return to your current game. Wandering the ship, if you notice a hand, it indicates something to click on. May I suggest you do so? Several personal items in your room, a brown satchel, and a pocket watch are quite useful to you during your voyage. Take them with you. You shall want to converse with other passengers. If you fail to understand them, click on their face. They will repeat their last sentence. The purser. His office is on C deck, just off the forward grand stairs. The elevator, or lift as we call it, has an attendant who can direct you to various sections of the ship. The lifts are located behind the forward grand staircase. Lastly, you may always find me by returning to your cabin, C-73, and ringing the bell to the right of the door. Your correspondence. 2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. Even if it is 1912, and the Titanic, the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still have only two hands. 2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. Even if it is... Here, a map of the ship for you. Compliments of the White Star Line. I have taken the liberty of indicating your cabin, C-73. Of course, on a Sunday evening at this hour, there won't be many people out. Will there be anything else? A young lady. A most insistent young lady. The electric camel, an exercise device. They say it is good for the liver. I wouldn't know. It's located in the gymnasium, on the boat deck, on the starboard side. That's the right side, in case you had not been informed. Port. If you're facing towards the front of the ship, the left side is the port side. Have you unpacked? You'll find your trunk key in your bag on the bed. And remember your personal effects, your watch, and if you require additional assistance, please ring the bell by the door. Good night. Are you wandering about? There is a card game in progress in the smoking room, held by a French gentleman. Oh, I would never play games with the French. They cheat. The gymnasium is on the boat deck, on the starboard side. Take the lift behind the staircase to A deck, and then go up the grand staircase to the boat deck. I suggest you contact the importunate Miss Pringle. If you're in a hurry, there are lifts for fast ascension and descension. They're behind these stairs. Good night.
Evening, I'm the lift attendant. And you'll not find one better at taking you where you want to go. Where to? Righty, I know every nook and cranny. The grand stairs. Why, mate, you're right behind them, on the other side of the lift. 5 flights, there eyes, from D to boat deck. May I take you somewhere? Good night.
Oh, hello. Don't think we've met. I'm Leyland Sachem Trask, metaphysical scribe and evangelist for the supernatural. I've been in London attending a conference on premonitions among the sensitive. Sensitives, or psychics, possess increased powers of perception. A gifted psychic can take a personal effect from a complete stranger and tell you all about them. This is a ship of destiny, which I think you know. There's a range, of course, but given the right training, psychics can reveal information hidden to others. Good night. Hello. In need of psychic consultation? Good night.
sorry. This section's off limits. Passengers aren't allowed on the bridge. Officer Morrow's in no mood to accommodate passengers right now. He's misplaced his binoculars, and he's in a right proper state about it. Off with you now.
Glory be. It's about time. You're late. Another 5 minutes and I'd have cancelled your mission. Yes, I'm Pringle. Penny Pringle. From the Bureau of Secrets. You didn't think they'd plunk you down on this bucket of bolts and millionaires alone, did you? What a botch-up. Some idiot in the War Office booked me into second, not first class. And I've had a fine time of it, too. The crew wouldn't let me in the first cabin at all. It's just today I located you. Look at this. A German colonel named Zeitel. He's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington, and Mexico City. We know better. Ten days ago, the Bureau got word that Zeitel has in his possession a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, stolen 2 months ago in Paris after its purchase by a very highly placed member of His Majesty's government. The Rubaiyat's a book, a collection of medieval Persian poetry, a passion of his lordship's. Poetry. Persians. The German High Command must think it's important enough to have their top man smuggle the lot on board. It's your job to find out. His Lordship's watching this very closely. Very closely indeed. I wouldn't fumble this chance either, unless you fancy spending the rest of your career in some grotty Midlands back office shuffling paper about. Have you seen the report? In your trunk? On the international situation? I'd jolly well read it if I were you. No. He's with a protégé. Name of Heidelitz, I believe. The two spend a great deal of time in the Café Parisien. Nibbling pastries. Get into the wireless room. I don't know or care how. Officer Morrow wouldn't let me in. See if Zeitel's received or sent any telegrams about the Rubai. You've got a cryptograph in your trunk. It'll unscramble the German codes. You use the brains God gave you. Watch people. Listen. When you find the Rubaiyat, knock on my door. Cabin F, 34. Use the second-class stairs. You should be set. Remember, this is your big chance. Don't fail. Try to intercept Zeitel's telegrams. Get inside the wireless room. Surely someone on board knows what he's up to. And don't forget the cryptograph in your trunk. It will unscramble the German codes. Most importantly, find the Rubaiyat. Meanwhile, I'll conduct my own investigation. Off with you now. Go!
Come here. Don't you love this sea air? Really clears out the sinuses. Max Seidelman, Philadelphia, PA. Buyer for Haymaker's department store. The Sharpie of Spruce Street, they call me. You a sporting type? You look like the sporting type. Come on down to the smoking room for a nightcap. Riviera's looking for someone to play a few hands of blackjack with. What do you say? Not much else to do. Not tonight. Brr. Cold as a cast iron commode. So, what do you say? If that's the way you're gonna be, don't bother. Sheesh, just trying to be friendly. Some people.
Good evening. Third Officer Morrow here. Sorry, the wireless room's off limits to passengers. No passengers allowed. Yes, very calm. We've received some ice reports. Shouldn't be a problem, though. Not on the Titanic. Yes, though the only thing to watch is the wireless room. They just keep bringing up more messages. Wireless telegraphy is all the rage these days. A toy? Certainly not. It's quite important. This is the officers' promenade. No passengers allowed. Good night. Yes, what now? This area's off limits. No passengers allowed. Drink? I don't, and don't care for those who do. Excuse me, would you? I must return to my watch. Good night. Sorry, no passengers on the bridge. Didn't you hear me? No passengers. That means you. Good night. Sorry, the wireless room's off limits to passengers. Good night.
You came after all this time. It's Georgia. I'd heard you on board. Where have you been? Who am I? But it's Georgia. The one person you could tell anything to. I don't blame you for not speaking to me. You told me once I cared only for a title. Well, I've got that now. I'm Lady Georgia, wife to Charles, Lord Only it's all gone so wrong. Why on earth didn't you find me earlier? You're just like the rest, aren't you? Like Charles, like Sasha. No emotion touches you, does it? It never did. You'd never let it. You're in on it too, aren't you? Bastard. said what I needed to. Please, leave me.
A fine night to be indoors, cold as the dickens outside. Cold but clear. Clear as a bell, and the stars, oh, you should see 1,000,000 stars in God's firmament. A congregation of light. The name's Trout. The Reverend Edgar. I'm returning from a mission in Africa, to Sunapee, New Hampshire, where I live. Emily, my wife, she's dead. Thank you. We had looked forward to this journey. But she died at Port Said, though it was Nyasaland that killed her. The doctors, you know, never did find all the parasites. Calling on Miss Pringle? She has been invaluable this voyage, a pillar. Oh yes, we're very glad she's with us. They say you met Trask. Be wary of him. Trask's a trickster. Take this card, a prayer card, from my own collection. So you must like it, this section of the Titanic. Here, second class. You can get to Scotland Road from here. Do you know it? Scotland Road? Scotland Road runs the length of the ship, from stern to bow on Eden. It allows the crew to get from one side to the other quickly. I could go to third class if I take the Scotland Road, but I don't believe in social mixing. No, it creates too much anxiety. A place for everyone, and everyone a place. Though some don't choose to see it that way. In the course of my ministrations, I've observed a gentleman from first class. A young German, among the steerage women. Most unnatural. I haven't said anything. I wouldn't want to upset the ladies, especially Miss Pringle. She seems a fragile vessel. Behind me, through those doors. Wait, Before you leave, I was wondering, perhaps you'd care to make a donation to our mission in Nyasaland. Sorry to have bothered you. Perhaps another time. Good evening.